Thanks for joining us this morning. We're super excited to go into day 2 and couldn't feel more energized from day 1. For those of you who stuck around for cocktail hour last night, I was really happy to get a chance to visit with many of you. We spent some time debriefing and talking about the great events of the day. And in particular, I enjoyed a conversation I had out on the patio with Lisa, Pam, and Michelle, where we spent some time kind of capturing the highlights of the session, and we had the opportunity to debrief on the heavy complexity of the work that the Denver Civic and Civic Spaces and Creative Learning was, and the great quote from Rick Griffith to not serve yourself, but to serve your community and to have purpose-driven relationships. While at the same time, I appreciate that you all tolerated my little meltdown up here yesterday. And I am excited about the fact that other folks are singing my song about stepping out of our silos and finding more champions to engage all folks in the meaningful dialogue around having arts as an important part of a well-rounded education. So, as we move forward to another fantastic day, I want to set you up for some terrific things we have ahead of us this morning. First, you're going to hear from a very inspiring student, and very inspired student who will be receiving the Young Artist Award later on this morning. There will also be a significant portion of the morning program on the Every Student Succeeds Act, and to revisit some of the things that we addressed this morning and do a deeper dive into that. And finally, we're going to close our conference out with an exciting keynote from the CEO of PBS, Paula Kerger. So now that we've taken a look back at yesterday and I've given you the highlights of what we can expect today, I want to introduce a video and a video greeting from the 11th chairman of the National Endowment for the Arts, Jane Chu. Chairman Chu has been active in the arts her entire life. She's been such a fantastic champion for the arts in the U.S., helping everyone understand how we can support the arts and its relevancy across sectors. And although she was unable to join us for this conference, she was gracious enough to send us a video greeting.
Hello, I am so thrilled to be participating in the 2016 Arts Education Partnership National Forum. This has been an exciting time of change as AEP has transitioned into its new home within the Education Commission of the States. And now AEP's unique collaboration between the private and public sectors promises to extend even further to governors and chief state school officers, state legislators, and others. And by expanding the collaboration partners, you're also expanding the capacity and reach to support students even more. When the National Endowment for the Arts and the United States Department of Education first established AEP 21 years ago, our goal was to help America's students achieve through the arts. And as school districts across the country set priorities for the Every Student Succeeds Act, one of our shared priorities is to ensure that the arts and education communities have the resources necessary to expand the arts in every classroom. We have always known that bringing high-quality arts education to America's students requires the resources and skills of many, and we're so appreciative of the countless arts organizations, teachers, teaching artists, parents, principals, and state and local leaders who work to bring the arts to our nation's children. Now, through AEP's 2020 Action Agenda for Advancing the Arts in Education, we all have an even clearer roadmap for how we can contribute to strengthening arts education. Thank you again for your commitment to advance and enrich our nation's students through the arts. By partnering together, we can ensure our children achieve the future they deserve.
So it's great to hear from Chairman Chu, and I thank her for taking the time to address our forum. Our next speaker is the Director of Arts Education at the National Endowment for the Arts, Ayanna Hudson. Ayana presides over the grant portfolio devoted to arts education. She works with national service organizations on policy initiatives and serves as the spokesperson for arts education at the federal level. She truly is an asset to educators and civic leaders as they seek to deepen their knowledge and strengthen their practices. Please join me in welcoming Ayana Hudson.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Jane, so much. It's so good for me to be here with you at the AEP Forum, and especially to be here in Denver with the Arts Education Partnership under the leadership of Education Commission of the States. I want to take just a moment to build on Chairman Chu's remarks, and I really want to underscore the importance of each one of us committing to move forward the arts leading the way to student success, a 2020 action agenda for advancing the arts in education, and really talk about the importance of aligning our work to its goals. And if you haven't seen the action agenda, please go to AEP's website, aep-arts.org, to download, and I'm sure we have copies here as well. But the action agenda really sets a 5-year aspirational goal that by the year 2020, every young person in America will have access to equitable, high-quality arts learning opportunities. It provides an organizational framework to align arts education with educational priorities, raise student achievement and success, support effective educators and school leaders, transform the teaching and learning environment, build leadership, capacity, and knowledge. And it provides a platform to collectively tell powerful stories about the transformative power of an arts education. So in short, the action agenda is about systemic change, and it's about collective action. So it's up to us as leaders and practitioners in the field to find our place within this plan. And in fact, when you take a look at the plan, I'm sure you'll find the great work that you're already doing supports one or more goals of the plan. And at the NEA, we've been thinking a lot about how our work supports the action agenda. And in fact, so much of the NEA's work is already in direct alignment. For example, last year, we awarded nearly $6 million to 174 arts education projects across the country, all of which aim to raise student achievement and success. 99% of these awards benefited an underserved population, and 50% of these grantees provide services in high-poverty communities. Over the past decade, we've supported effective educators by awarding $4.8 million in professional development grants. And with the introduction of our collective impact grants, we've already invested $2.1 million in transforming the whole learning environment. And in fiscal year 2016, we supported CDA's Advances in Arts Assessment Initiative, as well as a professional development institute for arts education managers and state arts agencies across the country in partnership with NASA, National Assembly of State Arts Agencies, both of which build leadership, knowledge, tools, and resources. So really, the time is now for us to act together collectively to ensure equitable access and participation in the arts for all students, but especially those that we know have the least amount of access. And we know that these are students attending schools in high-poverty communities and schools that are low-performing. We know the students attending these schools are overwhelmingly African-American, Hispanic, and Latino students. These are students that, because of circumstance, are vulnerable and marginalized, and students that I, like many of you, and I'm sure probably every single person in this room, have dedicated my life to serving and using the arts to break cycles of poverty, to level the playing field, and to ensure readiness for college, career, and life. AEP will be announcing an infrastructure to support our collective implementation towards the 2020 action agenda when it releases an updated strategic plan in 2017. So I look forward to hearing how all of your work aligns with and moves forward the 2020 action agenda. Onward as always. Thank you.
Before we get deeply into the program and the exciting time where we get to honor a student, I want to take a few minutes to thank so many partners that have helped make this convening meaningful and special and thought-provoking. From the beginning, the time in the summer to serve as a strategic planning committee to help and assist and refresh the action agenda of which Ayanna was referring to, that we're going to keep the momentum going to have a refreshed version of that in 2017. Similarly, I want to thank the Arts Ed Search Review Panel for their work on a critical asset that the Arts Education Partnership possesses, Arts Ed Search. And third, that event on Wednesday night, I hope that you all thought it was as wonderful as I did, because we are extremely grateful to Colorado Arts and Venues, or Denver Arts and Venues rather, and the Colorado Ballet for making that such a special evening and providing us with such a special space. I want to give a heartfelt thanks to my boss, Jeremy Anderson, who makes my life easier every day because he's equally as passionate about the arts and education, and it's great to work with him and work under those conditions. And I want to give a special thanks to the AEP staff, particularly Scott Jones in the back of the room, who moved across the country to work with me in Denver, and I couldn't be more grateful. I want to thank the communications team and my particular liaison, Nick Eppart, and I want to thank Kate Wolf, who will now permanently take on a role of managing our DC office and work with me on a regular basis. Yesterday I alluded to how important Sandra Rupert has been to my transition into this position, and I want to reiterate again that she has been a vital part of the move from DC to Denver and Arts Education Partnership finding itself in its new home in the Education Commission of the States. Sandra, I'm grateful to you, and I feel like I've made a lifelong friend, so thank you. And the last thing I'll say is students are truly the common element that bring us together in this room today. So we are here to improve and expand upon the opportunities for students to engage in the arts. So we are grateful to the students who participated yesterday in our forum, and we're even more delighted to honor a student this morning. So just to tell you a little bit about the Young Artist Award, the Young Artist Award is a project that we partner with the National PTA Reflections Program. It is built upon the national standard for family school partnerships. The PTA Reflections Award program engages nearly 300,000 students and their families, and we would like to provide a heartfelt thanks to Ethan Clark from the National PTA, Teresa Williams from the Colorado PTA Reflections Program for their support for this award. To help us with our next panel discussion, or our discussion with the student, I'd like to introduce Jay Sellers. Jay Sellers will be coming up to facilitate that discussion. I want to also thank Jay because he was one of the first people to reach out to me when I took over my position as the Director of Arts AEP, and little did he know he would become one of our critical friends and go-to people when it came to engaging us with the Colorado arts community. So without further ado, I welcome Jay and the young artist up to the stage, as well as the teacher. Thank you very much.
Good morning. I should say welcome to the Mile High City. I hope you had a chance to enjoy some of our altitude while in town. This week you've got the Great American Beer Festival going on next door. Maroon 5 was here last night. I was there. I was helping Adam with his wardrobe mostly. And then Dracula at the DCPA. So as you can see, Coloradans love our vices. I am the president of Arts for Colorado, which is the lobbying wing for Colorado arts industries. And I'm also the executive director for Think 360 Arts for Learning, which is a Young Audiences affiliate. There's three things that Think 360 Arts for Learning does here in Colorado, the services we provide. I was told by a student I would look really cool if I had an iPad versus a paper script, so I hope you think that's true. First thing is, we do professional artists in the classroom for residencies. This could be a 1-day, a 1-week, a 2-week program, and this sparking engagement in learning and letting students and teachers know that arts is a career and a sustainable one for them to consider in the future. We employ digital artists, visual artists, dancers, musicians, actors, sculptors, creative writers, and storytellers. The second thing that we do, a service we provide, is professional development for teachers. This is on arts and integration and aesthetic education. We have a 1-week summer institute, and at that institute, we really dive deep in providing those teachers. And it's core teachers, art teachers, any teacher across the state. And the third thing and final thing we do is networking communications for the state of Colorado. We bring together all of the arts disciplines, the arts associations, and assist them in keeping them informed about changes in legislation, academic standards by collaborating with College Department of Education, and topics of relevance in arts education. With our partnership with Colorado Industries, the creative industries here in Colorado, and the Office of Economic Development, we also provide grants to the classroom. These are creative and innovative grants, and they're $3,000 a pop, and last year we gave away close to $50,000. So at this time, I would like to ask the stars of the morning, Gwen Ehlers, the teacher at Lakewood High School, and Zan to join me on the stage. We're going to move into our talk show set. It's very theatrical. Mic's on, good. Okay. So, Zan, I'm going to start off by asking your teacher a few questions, if you don't mind. Gwen, how would you describe the program at Lakewood High School to the guests here that are from around the country, and then anything you would say that is unique about arts education in Colorado?
Our school is awesome. We do have a very strong arts program there at Lakewood. We have opportunities, we have choice, and it's accessible to anyone and everyone. So, Zan, I was very pleasantly surprised to have her back. This year as a senior, I first met her as a freshman. And very unique, creative young lady. But not all students sometimes have the time in their schedule to get to my classroom or even in our department. So we do have full classes, and we have choices as far as levels. The community supports us very well. Even our district is very supportive. But it's a great school.
Great. What would you say is the most challenging thing about teaching art students today in the public school system, and how do you view the national landscape on arts education?
That's a loaded question. How much time do I have?
Just ignore some of the important people here.
Of course, I've been teaching 24 years, K College.
Congratulations.
Thank you,
That's
and
awesome.
2 states, so I could have a lot to say. I wish everyone knew what art educators and supporters know about the impact of arts to every student who is allowed to be in that environment. And what I've seen over 24 years is incredible, just how students grow, and you can visually see the growth and the understanding and the aha moments that bring to every smiling student in the art classroom. I feel that our district, our state, is very supportive of the arts, and as an art educator, it's heartwarming. There is some concerns always about budget and bond issues and choice. There is some concerns out there as far as just bringing the art education out and forward. It could be a whole nother conversation, but did I answer your questions?
Yes, good. So some questions for you, Zan. First, let me congratulate you personally for receiving this award. That's awesome. What does it mean to you to receive this type of national recognition?
I'm very excited. I just like to know that people enjoy what I create and want to put it like on the front of their forums and everything. It makes me feel good and excited. Yeah.
That's great, great. So you mentioned in your bio, if you did, I hope you got a chance to read the bio on the back of the program cover, Artful Journeys, a course you took in preschool.
Yeah.
Would you say that was your first experience in the arts and an interest in the arts, and specifically the visual arts?
Yeah, I would say it was. Actually, what happened was I missed one of the classes. So what it was like you go into class and there would be a group of people all your age, and like every day or week we'd have one particular thing that we'd all basically try to draw the same thing and just work with techniques and different medias and things. And what happened was I actually missed one of the classes, and so I made it up with an older group of kids, and we were drawing Indians with charcoal. And I think at that moment I realized that, hey, I might be good at this, and this is really fun, and I wanted to continue from there. And then my parents put me in a bunch of different other classes, and I got to take art at school. So I think that was definitely the first moment I thought I could enjoy it.
Great.
Yeah.
The fact that you can remember preschool is astonishing to me.
Well, I definitely had some preparation before that.
Okay, okay. And so when you said the older kids, were we talking first graders then?
I'm honestly not sure, but yeah, older. They felt very older to me at that time.
Right, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Everybody feels old to me. Okay. Zan, I'm very familiar with the arts program at Lakewood High School. There was a video contest that was offered up it's actually 4 years ago, which is like yesterday to me. But Katy Perry did this contest with her Roar song that came out for high schools to come up with a video. And the prize was that Katy Perry would visit the high school after the video was produced. And there's my snapshot of what she did. But in that video, Zan is featured at the very end of the video. It's a long shot going from the parking lot through the entire academic wing of the school. I think every student and every teacher in the building was utilized in that. And then just before you exit the building, you can see her lovely face. So kind of tell me, how would you describe the arts programming at Lakewood High School? Music, theater, dance, visual arts?
I think Lakewood is a really unique school because everybody is very nice to each other, and everybody's sort of this integrated family. That's actually their slogan, "We are family." And so I think the arts program has a lot of support. Like the theater program is huge, and they put on the most amazing shows. They do, I think, 4 a year, and they really try to make sure that everybody, if they want to, they can take whatever kind of art class they want. For me personally, I'm in the IB program, which means I have a little bit less flexibility. But I was really excited freshman year. I got to take an art class, and then unfortunately, my junior and sophomore year, I didn't have enough time. But this year, I'm actually in AP Art with Gwen again, and I was so happy that I had enough room to take that class. So I think out of other schools, I'd say Lakewood has a very good art program, and the amount of people who get to enjoy it and be a part of it.
Did you get to meet Katy Perry too?
I didn't get to meet her, no, but I saw her. It was really cool.
So someone in the audience put a bug in my ear that you actually participated in improv.
I used to, yeah. I live in Evergreen, and there's this place called Evergreen Players, and they have a bunch of teachers that come in and do classes. And there's usually a summer camp, and with the teens, you do 1 week, it's like a musical, and then the next week is improv. And so I used to do that every summer. It's really fun.
Did you do any performances and stuff with them too?
Yeah, it's 2 weeks, and you do a performance each Friday. So we've done musicals like Hairspray. They did Grease the year before I joined. We did Pippin as well. So yeah.
Are you involved in the theater program, Matt?
I am not. I unfortunately don't have enough elective space to do that. But
it's tough squeezing it in.
Yeah, for sure.
So I believe you have some family members with you here today, and I would like to ask your parents, Sandra and Dave McPherson, to stand up and be recognized. We know that success in the arts and education requires a strong, supportive parent. And really, success as a student in any subject area or anything they involve in the co-curricular activities really does provide that successful parent supporting you in everything you're doing. How has your parents encouraged your artistic endeavors?
My parents are incredible. They do so much for me. My mom found this. His name is David Kewen. He's a watercolor artist from England. He lives in Evergreen, and he travels around. And she actually found him, and we met, and he wanted to give me private lessons. So I've been doing that with him too, which I attribute that to most of my watercolor skills. Without that, I don't think I'd be this good. My parents have always supported me in anything that I do, especially just like monetarily wise. Like I like skiing, that's kind of expensive. My parents have always made sure that I have the opportunities to do what I want, and I'm really thankful that they do that for me.
Anybody else in your family an artist?
My little sister took watercolor classes with me a little bit too, and she draws off and on, but she used to dance more than anything. She skis as well. So.
She's in the band program?
She is, yeah. She plays the flute for band. I also used to be in band. I played the clarinet and tenor sax a little bit, but again, I ran out of elective space and wanted to take art instead.
That's incredible, incredible. So Gwen, back to you. Can you share a little bit about your background and passion for teaching the arts? What drives you? What makes you anxious about the school day ahead?
I was the kid that just always enjoyed dabbling and drawing and crafting, and my father was a teacher as well. Not an art teacher, but a sixth grade teacher. My mother always encouraged me, and when I was probably in middle school, my mother allowed me to take a few classes with an artist, and that really kind of, she could see something in me that needed to be nurtured. And by the time I got to high school, and I always tell my students that I never knew I was good at anything till I got to high school. I never had the opportunity to really, hone my skills and understand what I was doing. And I had a really great high school teacher that was very inspiring. He was an artist as well, working artist. And I think I just went to college, didn't really know what I was going to do, but I knew it had to be something in the creative realm, and then decided to be a teacher. And I was the kid that needed art in high school. I was the kid that I don't know I could have gotten through all the hard stuff without having that room or that studio experience. And that's what I want to give to my students. I want them to come in and feel a different world and to express themselves in an unusual, unique, and different kind of way.
Great. Tell us about your journey, your educational journey that brought you to Lakewood High School.
Well, I had no money. I could be the poster child for I have no money, but I'm going to college anyway. And I think I crammed 14 years into 5. I don't know. How's that go? Raised a family and paid for a semester, worked a semester. Started in Colorado, ended in Virginia, finishing my education. Gone on to get a master's and a GT endorsement and CTE certification. So I have a lot of education that I can bring to my classroom and my education. I am a working artist as well, do landscapes and...
Visual artist?
Mm-hmm, yes. Yeah, so I paint landscapes, abstract. So I feel it's important to be working artists to help my students grow and have them understand just the world and opportunities and what you can do with your skills. I'll be going to one of my art receptions in Pueblo this evening. So.
Busy, great, good. How would you describe, we'll pretend that Dan's not here, how would you describe her in your class, her involvement in the arts programming at Lakewood High School?
She is so focused. And when she comes in, she's just got a big smile on her face. And the amount of just determination and challenge, she just takes on every challenge. As far as she wants to do anything and everything. And my room is open to her as far as whatever she wants to do and however she wants to develop her ideas, she's got it in my room. And really that was the way as the freshman. So she always took a challenge. I always present because I have a classroom of all levels, all abilities. So I never want to close the opportunities out for the students who are just emerging, but for the students who got it and want to take it on, they're welcome to come in and just find themselves, really.
Great. So I know that we've talked about this separately, but studio time, so much in the arts education, we find students that find refuge in our classrooms. And I know that Lakewood has studio time. Do you want to elaborate a little bit on that, or the availability?
If the room is open, really anytime, even if I have a class, I have a separate table for students to just kind of sneak in on their off blocks. Sometimes that's the only opportunity they have. If they've missed a class, they're always welcome to come in and make it up. Come in after school, before school. But the day is pretty busy and pretty full with homework and assignments and projects. I do have Saturday studio time as well. I offer it for students, mostly for students who've maybe been sick or need to catch up, but it's mostly for AP because they have to have the studio time.
So you're giving up your own personal weekend time to be, that's awesome, thank you. Zan, any mentors in the arts community that you look up for inspiration, your favorite artist?
Well, my parents have a lot of artwork around our house, which is pretty cool. It's a very modern house, and they're friends with this guy named Todd Winters, and he does, usually they're landscapes with watercolor, but he also does acrylic over it to do like the whites and highlight things. He's a very interesting style, and we go to art shows all the time, and he's been in there most of the time. So I think that looking at the work that he's done, a lot of times I get, like the way he does aspen trees are very similar to the way I do them now, and I think that just getting to look at the way that other people perceive the world and how they do art has been very helpful.
Great. Our aspen trees, by the way, peaked last weekend, so sorry you missed that. But can you tell me about the image on the cover of the AEP program that we're looking at, your inspiration? I believe you titled the piece Colors?
I did, yeah. I really like watercolor because I like the way all the colors bleed together, especially in water. You can make it look very pretty using all the colors. We used to go to Maroon Bells up in Aspen all the time, especially when the trees are turning colors and you get the beautiful reflection of kind of the purple mountains with the yellow aspen trees in the water. It looks very pretty. And I sort of wanted to take that, I painted those mountains before multiple times, and I sort of wanted to just focus on the aspen trees and how they look in the water. I think aspens are very beautiful.
There.
Yeah.
It's our favorite tree, actually, in Colorado. You know, this room is full of individuals who are passionate about arts policy and public policy, especially, of course, surrounding arts education and the classrooms in America. What type of advice would you give them when they go back to their home states to encourage young artists like yourself?
I feel like a lot of people think that art is something that, like, you have to be gifted this talent, like you're kind of born with it. And a lot of people don't realize that you can take art classes and get good at art even if you weren't sort of born with this, I guess, talent of being an artist. Like, when you look back on the things I used to draw, like, I don't think I was any better than any other, like, 2-year-old playing with crayons. So it's really just the idea that these kids, if they take classes and they have the right support and feel free to experiment and do what they want, I think more people would be open to taking art classes because it wouldn't be so daunting. No one would be like, oh, I'm going to be terrible at this. It's more of like, well, you should just try it. Who knows? Maybe with enough practice, you'll be really good and you'll enjoy it.
That's great. Gwen, does Lakewood recognize students through Art Honor Society or anything like that?
Of course.
Yes. And you mentioned already you have the AP Art, and that's awesome too. Well, I got a last question for you, Zane. What is next for you? Future plans for college? How will you continue your interest in the arts?
So I actually applied to Colorado School of Mines a couple of weeks ago. I'm really hoping I get in. I should know like mid-November. I want to be a physics engineer. I really like math as well as art. And that's another thing that I don't think people realize that you can be good at. Like, they think it's like the opposite side of the brain. You can't be good at math and being good at art. But I actually think math and art are very similar. And I know a lot of people who are good at math who are also really good at art. So I'm hoping that the creative aspect of art will kind of help me when I'm doing physics, because a lot of it's very abstract, like when you're looking in the atom, like you can't physically see it. So I think the creativity that I've learned will be extremely helpful when I'm engineering things and trying to do math behind all these different physical concepts. Awesome. I'm excited.
Any final comments, Gwen?
Zan is a perfect example of being allowed to use her whole brain, the whole child, and to celebrate and all parts of her thinking and imagining innovation. And it's important that we do recognize the whole child in all things.
Anything else I missed?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, we're going to move to the photographic red carpet moment. I'm going to ask Dr. Jane Best to join me on stage. Thank you, Gwen. Let's get the four of us together. You've got to be in on the picture first. You can't leave.
So, Zan, in appreciation for you giving us the most beautiful cover and timing the aspens in their color perfectly with our conference, we want to present you with this framed photo. And what we would like to do now is we're going to take a few minutes taking photos while we transition up to the ESSA plenary session next. So,
a little bit there.